Hey Warriors, thanks for joining me for another episode of the Disabled to Enabled podcast with me, your host, Jessie Ace. Today's episode is sponsored by our friends at iHerb, supplements at an affordable price. Go to mmini.me/iHerb or mmini.me/iHerb or click the link in the show notes. By clicking this link, iHerb will give back to the Disabled to Enabled podcast, and you get some awesome supplements at a great price. My name is Jessie Ace. I'm part of a group of enabled warriors that you've probably never heard of. We're fighting back against our invisible illness and taking the dis out of disability. We don't give sympathy to our symptoms. They enable us to be the warrior that we are. If you ask doctors and nurses, they'd say what we're doing is impossible. But pushing the limits of our conditions is something that we have to break through every single day. So we push the limits. We are mentally strong. We can do anything. The question is, how far can we push those limits? This podcast will give you the answers. I'm Jessie Ace, and this is the Disabled to Enabled podcast. Enabled Warriors, welcome back. We're here with Megan to discuss how she overcame her illness of MS. So going back to your diagnosis and things, how long did it take for you, do you think, to accept or come to terms with what was going on?
So I thought it took probably, for me to accept my illness, when I started to become ill, probably took about 2.5 years. But someone said at a conference I went to, do you ever think you fully accept your illness? And I realized that no, I think it's an ongoing thing. You're going to constantly be trying to accept it all the time, and you get further and further down the line to accepting it. So I think it's an ongoing process. I think I've accepted the big parts of it. So I've accepted that I'm ill, which helped. Counselling definitely helped with that. But I think it's an ongoing acceptance process. I think there's always going to be times when I find it really difficult, but they'll become less and less, and I'll know the support that I can reach out to when that does happen. So yeah,
for definite. And I think you're completely right in saying that. I mean even now, like, I've been diagnosed for 6 years now, which is quite a long time, and I thought I was doing like okay with it, and I was like, I've come to terms with the illness, it's fine, I can talk about it quite easily now. And then yesterday I went for an MRI scan, and walking around that hospital kind of just made me think, okay, there is actually something wrong here. I kind of forgot that part of it almost, because you kind of live with day-to-day symptoms, you live with taking tablets and all of that sort of stuff. But then when you go in and have tests and blood tests and have to go and pick up your prescription and see your neurologist, and you kind of go, oh, actually, I forgot that this actually wasn't normal to other people. If that makes any sense.
No, that definitely makes sense.
It's kind of like getting a reality check, I guess. Every so often you have to go for one of those and like,
oh. And hopefully they'll become like further and further apart, and you'll kind of learn to accept it. But it definitely is an ongoing. There's always going to be things that throw you off, and you just learn to deal with each one of them, I think.
For sure, yeah, definitely. So weird. So since your diagnosis, you've started planning your wedding. Oh my God, yes. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Let's have a chat about the pressures of planning a wedding and how it can affect your MS symptoms, because have you found wedding planning stressful at this point at all?
Everyone keeps asking me this, and I haven't been very stressed. I've been really enjoying it, and actually love wedding planning. I have actually found it a little bit more stressful recently, with our venue. A few things were happening about the table centerpieces, and no one was replying. And I've sent an email back in September, and I've chased about 6 or 7 times, and I still haven't got a response. I was like, no, this is so stressful. And
just watch the video, Megan. Oh, it's okay.
The back. It was very stressful. But my partner said, okay, I'll call them and I'll sort it out. So he took the stressful stuff, and I got to go back to not being too stressed. So Yeah, I think actually because of like fatigue, I find I don't go out loads. I go out quite a bit. I work, so I'm out 3 out of 5 days a week. 2 days I work from home. That makes a big difference. And then I'll maybe go out one day at the weekend. So I try and balance it with going out one day, doing nothing one day. So on those doing nothing days, it meant that I had something to focus on. I could go and make name cards or make invites and all of this stuff, and it gave me, I'm quite a creative person. I love creating things, so it gave me something to focus on, and it's been really helpful actually. Been really good. So yeah, no, not stressful. And I've heard a lot of people say it, but it's very stressful. I'm waiting for that stress to hit me, but it hasn't yet. I feel like I'm probably not doing it right because it's not stressful.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Well, that is an amazing thing. So I got married 2 years ago, and at the time I set up like a wedding business at the same time because I thought it was a good idea. Why? Yeah. I don't know. And
take more onto your plate. That'll really help.
I've always been really good at that, just like doing
piling it up. Yeah, I do a very similar thing.
Crazy. So one of the things that always came up with in the wedding planning business, because we did like a Q&A kind of session each week type thing that we called Toss the Tiara. It was very, very fun. But one of the biggest things was how to handle like family and friends when they were trying to chip in all the time and say, "Well, why don't you do this, do that?" And I found that quite hard, I think, to be honest.
Yeah, I've had a few people that have said, "Oh, why don't you invite this person?" Or, "Oh, we were inviting this person, yeah." And it's like, no, this is my wedding, and I think you just have to be quite firm with family and friends, but it is difficult. I think it costs so much money. It's so expensive, and you don't particularly want people there that you've never met, in a sense. So I think that's a really big thing. Like, I want to have met everyone. In the evening, not so much, but in the day, we want quite a small wedding. We want to make sure we've met everyone because I want it to be personal. I want it to be just, close friends and family. We don't want to have people that we've got in our wedding photos for the rest of our lives that we've never met and might not, always be around. So yeah, I think that's one of our things that we're quite strict on.
Sure. I mean, it's the kind of thing, it's like if you were to just go out and buy a stranger a £50 or £100 3-course dinner, like, you just wouldn't do that in normal circumstances.
You wouldn't do it.
But when it's a wedding, people are like, "Oh, well, this one needs to come," and you're like, "But I don't know that person."
Yeah.
We had so much of that. It was so annoying.
Yeah. It's I haven't had too much of it. There has been the odd thing, probably happened 2 or 3 times, but just there's a lot of things you're like, right, okay, this is my wedding. So but just try not to say, just trying to plan a lot of our wedding, which I'm trying to plan out a lot and make sure we've got a lot of it like very organized, has really helped me with not being stressed. We've like planned out the money side of it, planned out where everyone's going to sit, and just done quite a lot early on, and just made sure I know when payments have got to go out, I know when things have got to be made, things have got to be ready to take to the venue and stuff like that. Just and kind of got like a time plan for myself of when we want to have stuff booked, and I think that makes a massive difference to everyday life, and not just for wedding planning. I try and be quite organized with the rest of my life as well, so I know that if I'm going out on Saturday, I'm not going to go out on Sunday, just to try and if I'm having a really busy few days, making sure I try and squeeze in where I can to have some downtime and just have time where you sit and watch Netflix or you sit and read a book and you just relax and chill and don't stress. So yeah, I've tried to apply that to the wedding, and it's helped a lot. It has definitely helped a lot. I think makes a big difference.
So organisation is your kind of top key thing.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. It's been very helpful to be organised and make sure you know.
So you're also quite lucky in the way that you don't like take medication daily.
Yes, yeah.
Because so like I take Tecfidera, for example, and I know that 4 or 5 hours after taking it, I will start to get all these like side effects where I get like really, really hot and red and like start flushing, and I get really itchy as well and a dry throat.
Yeah.
So I planned when I would take that around the wedding day quite strategically. So I planned to take it so that this is going to sound like so like over prepared, but I took it at a certain time so that I knew that I would get the symptoms of the side effects when I was in the wedding breakfast.
Yeah, that makes total sense. Yeah.
And I could eat, because if you eat when things like that kick in, it lessens the side effects. But it does for me anyway.
Yeah. I think that's like a very clever thing to do. I think the actual day I've been thinking about quite a lot, because it's a long day. It's a long day.
Yeah.
And so I normally do like my own hair and makeup all the time. I'm quite good with hair and makeup. So I was thinking about doing it for myself, and then I realized actually that's another stress. So get someone else to do it.
It's more energy that you're using. So if you can take out that energy and save that and use that somewhere else.
So I'm trying on the day, I've taken everything that is going to use up this kind of meter of energy that I have and minimize the amount I'm doing as much as I can. So that'll be using my lovely bridesmaids to go and do anything that I need them to. And my mum as well. My mum is very helpful, so she'll be doing lots and lots on the day. And probably my dad and my dad's girlfriend. We'll give everyone tasks to do, and just planning those tasks so I know what everyone needs to do, and just if I plan them out, they probably will only take them half an hour each. It's not going to take a long time, but it's less things that I stress about. And so I think planning the day to do the littlest amount possible. I was quite lucky with the hair and makeup, actually. I went to a wedding fair and won my hair and makeup to be done. Ooh, so I've got that already. I was going to pay for it to be done anyway, but I'm very lucky in that I don't need to pay now. I've got it all included. So yeah.
Nice. That's really good. And going to wedding fairs and entering every competition possible is also big benefit.
Yeah, that's the only thing I've actually won. I didn't think I was going to win anything. I've entered so many of you start signing up to these emails and you get so many this creative wedding thing and this thing here, and sign up to win this honeymoon. But yeah.
One of the tips I can also give, right, and this is what I learned actually from one of our brides in the group who was doing this, and I thought it was genius, and I don't know why I didn't do it, was firstly create your own wedding email specifically so that all the wedding emails are in one. Secondly, create stickers for when you go to wedding fairs just with your email address on, so you don't have to keep writing it out, just peel it off and stick it on.
That's clever.
Why didn't I think of that? That's genius.
That's really clever. Oh,
that's genius.
That's a great tip.
It is, isn't it?
I will be using that. Yeah.
Oh, and I've spread that around everywhere because I was just like, oh my god, it's amazing. So yeah, because if you've never been to a wedding fair and Able Warriors listening, you literally have to. Everybody has like a fill-in sign-up form thing, don't they? Like enter to win this, enter to win that, and you're like, oh, I've got to write my details again. And there's like hundreds of suppliers at these things, isn't there? It's just crazy.
Yes. And it's just you get bombarded from a lot of different angles, and it's all coming at you, and you're like,
yeah.
So trying to focus on things. See, I don't know if you find this, if I'm in like a very busy situation, and if there's a lot going on, I kind of get a sensory overload and have to take a step back and go and sit outside in the fresh air and just take a few breaths, because otherwise I start to feel quite sick. I kind of get a headache, and it's just too much is going on. I don't get it all the time, just sometimes suddenly hits me and I'm like, nope, I need to step back now and relax for 5 minutes.
Definitely. You know that from Bucharest.
Yes, yeah.
So, yeah, So for enabled warriors listening who do get stressed out quite easily or do have a lot of anxiety, then one tip to really reduce your stress is to go to www.enabledwarriors.org and you can take part in the 5-day completely free stress challenge.
I've done it. It's good. Definitely try it.
So Megan, what advice could you give someone else who is going through a diagnosis at the moment?
Reach out to your family and friends, talk to them as soon as you can, because they will help you. They might find it hard at first as well, because like it's a big thing for not just you, it's a big thing for everyone else, but they will be able to help. And you will also have people that aren't very helpful, and make sure you just take a step back and learn that quite quickly, who you can reach out to and who you can't. I think that makes such a big difference with diagnosis, having people around you. And if you don't think you can reach out to anyone, the support groups make a massive difference. I've recently been in it's a big WhatsApp group basically, and that's really helped with anything that I have an issue with. I suddenly go, can I just talk to you guys about it? And anything, they will happily sit there and you'll get advice from so many people just to help you feel better. If you suddenly have like a weird symptom or a weird side effect, someone in the group, chances are, has probably had it too, and you won't feel so alone. And I think having something like that and just setting up your support network makes such a big difference to your day-to-day life.
Definitely, yeah, definitely. And finding people who also have the same thing, I think,
yes,
helps a lot as well. So yeah,
definitely. Great. And I think counselling can also really help. I think you have to be quite careful with counselling, because sometimes it doesn't, but don't let that deter you. Find a different counsellor, because sometimes that counsellor just isn't for you, and you can get very good counsellors. And I've had one counsellor who's very good, and I've had one that wasn't so good and started trying to bring up my parents getting a divorce, which was when I was 3 years old, and I'm very over it. I don't have an issue with my parents' divorce. I'm quite happy that my parents got divorced. I got 2 Christmases and 2 holidays every year, so I'm kind of a spokesperson for divorced parents. But I think she just focused on that, and I was like, well, I'm going through this big diagnosis, we're not going to talk about that, not my divorced parents. So I think you have to find the right counsellor for you, and I think that's quite difficult. But I think the MS Society, if you call up, they can offer you a lot of help as well. They've got kind of a helpline which can be very helpful.
Yeah, definitely. We are starting something in the Enabled Warriors Facebook group as well, which is a buddy system. So we're going to be pairing up people with someone else that gets it, basically, so that you can talk to.
I think have
that buddy to
go. It's a great idea.
Things with you.
I think having that like one-to-one, where you can just talk to someone that understands being ill, because I think even if you don't have the same illness, talking to someone. So my boss at work has diabetes. So she knows the whole going to hospital all the time and having all these appointments and how stressful and draining it can be, and having to go to the GP and have all these blood tests like all the time. So talking to her really helped me, just because she had an illness. So it sounds weird, but it's just you're kind of on a different wavelength with these people.
Yeah, exactly, because they get it. They know what it's like to look healthy as well, but not healthy on the inside. Huge thing. So yeah, they know all the pressures and the stresses that we're under as well. And the thing with chronic illnesses is quite often the symptoms do overlap with each other. So people with diabetes suffer from extreme fatigue in some cases as well. As well as people with MS do, and different conditions. So yeah, it's helpful. It's really helpful. Cool. Okay. Well, that's it for part 2, guys. In the next episode, we'll go through Megan's not so super quick secrets. And I say not so super quick, let's be honest, I kind of like to chat about them. So see you on part 3. Hey Warriors, thanks for joining me for another episode of the Disabled to Enabled podcast with me, your host, Jessie Ace. Today's episode is sponsored by our friends at iHerb, supplements at an affordable price. Go to mmini.me/iHerb or mmini.me/iHerb, or click the link in the show notes. By clicking this link, iHerb will give back to the Disabled to Enabled podcast, and you get some awesome supplements at a great price. If you want to fight back against your invisible illness and help take the dis out of disability, then join the tribe on Facebook, facebook.com/enabled warriors. If you love this podcast, click that subscribe button and never miss another episode. And remember, warriors, stay enabled.